In the biblical story, we meet one of our heroes, King David, in the bottom of a downward spiral. He should be out at war, but instead he's home. And the verb send is a verb he uses. He sends his army out. And then it's a Leonard Cohen song. You may know the story. He saw her bathing on the roof because he shouldn't be there. He abdicated his responsibilities. What does he do? He sends for Bathsheba. He takes her. He has an illicit affair. You're like, what are you talking about sanitizing the story? We didn't know that. Yeah. This is where that still is pretty bad. It gets worse. He then sends her away, sends for her husband to cover up. Why? Because he thinks he got her pregnant. Husband, really good guy named Uriah. Text says he's one of David's 30. What does that mean? David had an elite army called the Mighty Men. They were really like the Army Rangers, Green Beret. They were like the elite group. He was one of the 30 of those. He's an elite. He's in David's inner circle. So he slept with someone in his inner circle's wife. Not as bad as it gets yet, though. So then he's like, hey, come home for like a little break. Have some fun, get drunk, hang out with your wife. He's like, I can't do that. Not while my men are out on the field. I gotta be faithful. He's like, oh, this guy's a better guy than I am. So he sends him to the front line. Again, sending. He's abdicating responsibility. He sends him to the front line, has the line back up, he dies. That's the sanitized version. Here's some other details you may not know about that. Bathsheba was most certainly younger than David. Bathsheba was the granddaughter of David's wisest counselor. David had a counselor whose name is really hard to pronounce. I think it's like Ahithophel. Ahithophel was David's best advisor. His son was a guy named Eliam. Eliam was one of David's mighty men. Eliam's son was a guy named Uriah. Uriah was Bathsheba's husband. So I don't know. This is not a hot take, but if you're a grandparent, your grandkids' friends are off limits in a dating pool. Nobody thinks that's appropriate. That's wildly inappropriate. David he has all the power. He has all the authority. He's king. She can't do anything. He takes his friend's grandchild. We are right to feel disgusted. It gets even worse, though. God sends, hear God's irony there? David sending is just creating problems. So God's like, hey, he sends him the prophet Nathan. Nathan tells him an amazing story about a guy who has a sheep, and someone who has a ton of sheep takes that sheep and kills it. David's like, that's terrible. And Nathan's like, you're that guy. David breaks, he repents. However, remember we said sin pulls things apart? His sin pulls everything apart. It pulls apart his family. It pulls apart his country. His son loses all respect for him, a guy named Absalom. And so Absalom's like, this is my time to take over my father's kingdom. And you know who helps him? A guy with a really weird name. Ahithophel. I think that's that. I hope I'm saying that right. Bathsheba's grandfather. He starts advising Absalom. And because he knows all of David's secrets, he advises Absalom. David has to go on the run. Then when David's on the run, Ahithophel says, you want to get back at your dad? You want to show people that you're the real king? He takes all of David's prostitutes, his harem, he puts them on the same roof where David saw Bathsheba, and he tells Absalom, why don't you, in front of all of Israel, go into all these women? Sin, this is 2 Samuel 16. We have sanitized this story. Why do I tell you all that? If David were to show up here today, we would rightly be disgusted by him. He would not be qualified to teach Sunday school. He would not be qualified to lead anything around here. This is gross. It's terrible. It's wicked. It's awful. I think we just read it and we're like, oh yeah, David did this thing and that's bad, but God forgave him. Paul, describing the whole of the Old Testament, says this: these things were written for our instruction. Here's why I think we need to know all of that. The parts of David that disgust us find grace and mercy. And that's hope for the parts of you that disgust you.